Good evening and welcome back to 30 at 6 on Cecil TV. Tonight we have another installment of Dialog with Leadership. Welcome, Alan McCarthy.
Thank you very much for the invitation to be here.
How are you?
I'm wonderful.
A number of people on Facebook have noted that 66 years ago on December 8th, the Pan Am jet bound for Philadelphia went down near Delancey Road. There were no survivors, and it was a tremendous disaster. With the number of highways and freight rails and flight paths that cross over Cecil County, how is our disaster preparedness today compared to that of the 60s?
Well, we're far better prepared today than we were then, and I'll start with the airplanes. At that time, the FAA, which is the Federal Aviation Administration, was in its infancy. The rules, the regulations, and the safeties, installations of equipment in the airplane was not nearly as good then as it is today. In terms of flight safety and what would happen in this case, we have far more equipment. Our communication systems are far better. One frequency will allow the police, the fire companies, emergency services, all to respond and speak to each other at that time. We have an organization called MIMS, which is a national let's see, I got this wrong now. The National
Emergency Management?
Yeah,
maybe?
emergency system. It's something to that effect. And what they do is that basically they coordinate these activities amongst all the different responders, first responders, and basically make certain that everything's done in a proper fashion. The degree of training for emergency services, the fire companies, the police departments, is far better than it's ever been. Now, I pray that we never have a tragedy like that, because there was no one that survived that crash.
Right.
There was 81 people that perished. But in terms of assisting in these things, we're far better off now than we have ever been before.
Right, and I would guess that goes for airline incidents, but also
anything, train crashes, automobile accidents. I mean, we have the capabilities and the rapid response ready to basically take care of these things in a far more effective way. And the degree of training, medical services, triage, I mean, is just so much better. But it's a matter of basically making the investment and keeping up with technological changes as we move forward.
We note that the environmental cleanup of the Bainbridge property begins this week. It's been a long time coming, and the prospect of commercial development would seem to be on the horizon. With at least one warehouse facility slated for that site, can we say we've reached a turning point for the Bainbridge site?
I think that we have. We've negotiated all the cleanup with the Navy. They're willing to basically put people on the site, so as we develop, if any environmental issues come to light, they're basically dealt with at the time that the construction is being done. Most of the environmental hazards are basically transite, which is a form of asbestos, which is used in siding. So what we'll do is we'll scour the area. Anything that we see, we'll pick it up. As we move dirt, if anything shows up, it'll be taken care of by people that are licensed to basically deal with this environmentally sensitive material.
Where does it go? Do you know?
They put it in a landfill or can bury it underneath basically the concrete slab of the industrial facilities. Now, originally they had intended to put some residential houses there, but that basically has been taken out of play. So now everything will be commercial or industrial, which means that the standards of cleanliness or environmental hazards has been significantly reduced, because there won't be children playing in the ground and stuff like that. I think we've turned the corner. The biggest thing left to do is basically secure funding to put in some infrastructure, water and sewer on the site itself. Once that's done, it'll be ready to develop.
So we said we have one warehouse facility that is slated to go there. About how many others?
It's hard to say. That the first phase one will be approximately 400 acres. And as it currently stands, they're looking at about 3.5 million square feet of new commercial space. It'll probably be logistics to begin with, but it might develop into something else in the future. But I think we've turned the corner. We basically put in a new state-of-the-art wastewater treatment facility in Port Deposit that's being built now as we speak. And we're moving right along. We've been at this since 1976. They closed down the base.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's been 50-some years, or 43 years, I do believe. And BDC, which is a Bainbridge Development Corporation, has been in existence for 20 years. But we have made tremendous progress in the last two.
So speaking of development, the project underway at Rogers Road, which is the site of the old Nazarene camp,
That's correct.
is well underway, and it's truly breathtaking
It is.
the speed with which this development has been going on, and really reinforces the idea that Cecil County is charging ahead. There's lots of stuff going on. Are roads and intersections keeping up with the changes, and is pedestrian safety part of the equation?
Well, I'll answer the last part of the question first. Pedestrian safety is very, very important to Cecil County as well as the state of Maryland. Do I think that road construction is keeping up with the development? In this particular case, I don't think it is. I think that we need to basically make some modifications to 272. It is a very important question, but Cecil County now is moving very fast, and the state's trying to keep up with us,
Right.
and it's being hard to do. We basically have a new interchange going in at Belvedere Road and I-95, which will take a lot of the traffic off of 272 as well as 222, which is
Right.
in Perryville. But it'll be a while before the state has the resources, I believe, to basically widen 272 all the
272.
way up to
But that-
I-95. But it'll be forthcoming.
What do you think the I-95 interchange is likely to be?
I'm sorry?
The I-95 interchange at Belvedere Road is likely to be finished first.
Yes,
Okay.
most certainly, because that's already in the planning stages, whereas 272, to my knowledge, is not.
Okay.
And these developments are basically necessitating much more traffic. We'll see a lot more people moving into Cecil County. We've issued 4 times as many building permits this year as we did last. So we have big changes going on.
Yeah.
And once again, all of these things don't move at the same speed, but they will move forward, and we will basically get these things done. These are growing pains, as I call them.
The WIG reported that the county's economic development department is working with a number of unidentified manufacturers who are seeking sites in the county. As you know, manufacturing gets everyone's attention. Is there any more information you can share?
Well, we have lots of people inquiring about what they can do, where they could build, and types of business they have in Cecil County. But unfortunately, most of these folks have what they call NADs, non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs. And unfortunately, I am not prepared to discuss any of those things. But I can say there is tremendous amount of interest in locations in Cecil County, and certainly in the growth corridor, which is between Route 40 and I-95.
Okay. Anything else to share?
Not at this particular point in time, but we have a bright future. I'm excited to be part of it, and we've made tremendous progress in the last 3 years, and I hope to see the same thing going forward in the next 4.
Well, we will see you next year.
That's right. It will be next year.
Thanks so much.
Wish everybody Merry Christmas. Okay, thank you very much.